Hello everybody. We're going to do the next step on our mosaic. So we waited a full day for the polyurethane to dry. You got to do that. One time we did not wait a full day. We did it in the morning and then we thought it was dry because it wasn't tacky. It seemed like it was hard. We tried to do it in the late afternoon and it destroyed it. So you got to wait that day. You know, at least, I mean, overnight is what I'm kind of talking about. So it's all set. After you polyurethane, remember with the mirror that we have on here, what you normally want to do is after you polyurethane, now it is time for you to glue down those mirror pieces. So you don't get that film of that polyurethane on top of that, so it's definitely more mirror-like. And then something like that you could do in the morning, and then by the afternoon, that glue would definitely be dry enough to do the grouting process. Or just wait a day. You know, you've worked on this long enough. You know, what's one more day, you know? So next step is I have our newspaper down. I'm gonna grab an orange bucket. Inside of it should be a sponge. So you're gonna be using this. You know, if there's some grout, you know, from leftover in there, just kind of bang against the garbage can, you should be fine. I'm also gonna look for a white bucket that's down there. That's gonna have all the tools that we're gonna need for this project. So I'm gonna take this, which is our, it says grout water, 200 milliliters tag on there. This is what you're gonna need to measure your water out. So I have that available. I also have the grout. It comes like in a bag like this. It's on our lower shelves underneath the cabinets over there. Usually if we're doing this as a class, I'll have this on a cart. Black is our only color that we use. We've tried other colors in the past, and black 99% of the time works the best. I have never really seen white work well. We've tried brown one time. Black is what we have. So if you really want to try a different color, go to Menards. You can go buy it, and then you can be upset with me about that, but then you'll do it. You'll see what I'm talking about. Then you'll be upset with yourself. You know, it is what it is. Also, I'm gonna throw a pair of gloves on because it's not that big a deal getting grout on your hands, but it does have like a dye in it. So it is something that would kind of dye your hands for a little bit. And this isn't perfect by any means. Because as you start putting the grout on top of this, you're gonna notice that that if you have any pieces of glass sticking up, you'll rip these a little bit, so you're gonna get some grout inside your hand. You might have like a black finger or two for a few hours. You know, it kind of is what it is, part of the process. So next step is I'm going to get my water. Okay, I got my water now. I repositioned the camera a little bit so you can kind of see what's going on. Make sure that there's nothing really in that bucket. I'm just gonna dump that water inside of here. Next, I'm gonna grab my grout. Again, inside this white bucket, there should be another container, and I just use this little cup that I have. And I'm gonna reach down inside. I usually do this with you, but I just want you to kind of watch this so you kind of understand what's going on. So I do a few scoops, dump that in. Put my hand inside of here, and then I just mix it. And I'm trying to get kind of like a glue-like consistency, like a kind of watered down. I don't have a really good analogy for that. But it's definitely too watery right now, so I'm gonna do another scoop. Dump that in there, mix that up a little bit. Again, I help you out with this. It's kind of hard to scoop and do at the same time. I'm just kind of taking it, squeezing my hand in there, really breaking up those chunks. Because I don't want that sitting in there, you know, kind of lumpy. I want to definitely keep a little on the thinner side. That's much better. So hopefully you can kind of see that. Probably can't, but that's a good consistency right there. Next, I'm going to slide this over so you can see a little better. I'm going to take the grout. It's where people usually start freaking out. It's like, you're fine, it'll work. We've done this quite a bit. It's the only way to get it inside those cracks. You got to dump it on there. It's not like you're going to put it like in a plastic bag and just kind of squirt it in individual lines. Now I'm going to move this back and forth, and I just want to glide across the surface of the glass. This is where it's like if you have it too thick, it doesn't go inside those cracks. And if you have it too thin, it gets awfully brittle. And then we have some other issues later on. So like anything, it's always about that medium. So I'm just gently going across the top of the glass. And I'm gonna kind of start working on the outsides. Remember, I teach you that you wanna go right up to the edge of the glass, of your board, use straight pieces. This is when you start noticing why, because you're gonna have, this one did an okay job, but there's definitely some areas that are open. And you're gonna see the color of your board underneath there because the grout doesn't have any place to really sit. Get that over there. Now I'm gonna take just one finger, if you can kind of notice, I'm just using my index finger here, and I'm just gently taking all that extra grout that's sitting on top of this and work it into the side here. Now 200 milliliters of water works well. However, if you have large gaps, we'll have to quickly mix up a little bit more. And you can kind of ask me about that and ask me should you go to like 225 or 250 based on your size of the gaps that you have in here. This one's pretty good. Getting that worked in. Sometimes I pad it, trying to work that in a little bit. I can definitely feel a couple pricks every now and then where my glove gets caught because some glass was glued up a little bit. So you want to try to, again, glue those down without any kind of sharp side up. And all this extra grout. Okay, so we have most of it covered. I see a lot of holes. Maybe I can zoom in right here real quick. See those little pockets. And what you do is we're gonna do this on the whole thing is I'm gonna have one finger, I'm gonna drag it across like this, drop my middle finger back and forth, kind of like a windshield wiper. And that fills the gaps in. It's just dropping and going back and forth between my middle finger and my index finger. So I'm gonna zoom back out. I'm gonna start up here, take that one finger, go the way across, fill those gaps in, go the next layer down, fill those gaps in. You're never gonna get all of them. And this is one time that you'll get them and then you'll go after them one more time. But this is to kind of get kind of the big ones or most of them. But you wanna kind of get this excess of grout off. If you do need more grout inside your bucket, if you use your hand like a squeegee, you can see there's actually quite a bit of grout left inside of there. I'm just kind of going back and forth again with the middle finger, the index finger, or my index and my ring finger, whatever works to kind of move quickly back and forth. Because you are in a little bit of a time crunch when you do this. One, you only have the clasper in. You can't let this sit and come back. So we need to get this all done in one shot. So you can't come in, like 15 minutes late wanting to do this. It's just not gonna work. Almost there. Because now I'm just making sure that I'm going to start pushing all this excess grout off to the side. Makes the cleanup a lot easier. Still see some holes in here. I'm going to kind of quickly just go in and see if I can fill those in real fast. Okay, that's good. Next, I'm going to take this orange bucket. I'm going to go fill it up with water, about 3/4 full. Okay, now that I have my bucket of water, I'm gonna grab my sponge, and it doesn't matter that the water is really dirty. We will do a final cleaning after this is dry, okay? But we need to get most of this grout off. Now, this is the technique that people kind of struggle with. Again, I wanna sit down with you the first time, is you leave about you squeeze about 75% of the water out, okay? So you have to kind of get a feel for what that should feel like. You set this down, you're gonna pinch and then you're gonna use your 3 fingers to kind of lightly press along the side. So I'm gonna pinch the sponge, 3 fingers, and you're gonna drag it. Okay, you don't wanna press down really hard. You wanna have light pressure on there. You go the width of the sponge, and then you flip, pinch again, 3 fingers down, and then you scoop up that same area. So you kind of watch the same area twice. Squeeze this about 3 or 4 times, 75% of the water. Next, I have a dirty area and or a dirty area and a clean area. So it's kind of you put half of it on clean, half of it on dirty, pinch, 3 fingers down, light pressure, drag it across, flip, pinch, 3 fingers down, same area, and then scoop it up. Squeeze it about 3 or 4 times, 75% water is out. Half dirty, half clean, pinch, 3 fingers down, flip, 3 fingers, pinch, 3 fingers down, again, just the width of the sponge, and then scoop that off. Now, what you're looking for is you want to make sure that you're getting the grout off of it. And it's always just the width of the sponge. You go more than that, then it starts looking really dirty. And maybe I can, on the next level where I know it's going to be in the white area where you can see a lot better, I'm going to show you what it shouldn't look like. But everything looking good on here so far. Okay, next level. And again, I'm going right to left because I'm right-handed. If you were left-handed, you could go the other direction because you're using your other hand. Again, half dirty, half clean. That's where your sponge goes. Pinch, 3 fingers down, light pressure, drag it across, just the width of the sponge, flip, same area, pinch, 3 fingers down, drag, and scoop. Okay, so I'm going to show you what you don't want to do. You don't want to go all the way across like that because you have a lot of issues now. This area has a ton of grout that needs to be picked up. There's a lot of stuff that's already kind of over top of this area that needs to be fixed. And the polyurethane does a great job protecting the glass. And even though it's oil-based, it still can rub off. So you have to be a little careful. So you don't want to overwork an area. If I go in here and start scrubbing like this, you will take the glass off. You will take that paint off. I'm going to see if I can fix that real quick. Go back to my normal technique. Now it's a lot cleaner. So just the width of the sponge. Okay, next level. And when we do this, I'm usually across from you, and we kind of meet in the middle. It's nice if I can have groups of 3 or 4 when we do this, just because it takes me all hour to kind of go over with that group to do this. Okay, one more row, I think. And I don't think we lost any colors. At some point, I'll probably make a video again of that if I have somebody that does have an issue, and I'll just use theirs for an example. But there's 2 ways that we usually do it. One, you can put grab a scrap sheet of clear glass, spray paint it the color that you want, but like really mound it up, the paint, so there's like a little puddle of it. Use a Q-tip, and then kind of paint that onto the piece directly. That's usually what we do. If it's a black piece, usually we just use a Sharpie on that, and that usually kind of works. Okay. So next step. So this is going to be the worst that it's going to look. So I'm going to probably zoom in. Let's look at, trying to see an area that you... Okay, let's zoom in right here. So you notice that it has these streaks on here, as well as over on this side. That is fine. That's just kind of like dirty water, and this is just going to be like dust. So we need to let this sit and dry because all the grout between the glass pieces is still wet. So every time you wipe this, you grab that stuff in between the glass. So you gotta let this dry before you can go over this with clean water, wipe this whole thing down, dry it off, and then you have a finished product when you're all done with it. What I'm looking for right now are where it's kind of really built up. So let's zoom in over here. You can see that I'm pretty sure this is supposed to be a piece of mirror right in there. I'm gonna take my sponge, just a corner of it, very lightly, and dig that back out. That is the kind of stuff you're looking for, is more of the thicker grout that might be on here. So I like to look at it to see if there are anything. It's a little thick over here. Otherwise, I think we're pretty good. Now at this point, you can go along the side. I'm gonna come over here, dig up some of this this grout, and then I'm gonna come over here, and I wanna show you that over here I see all these little pockets. So I'm gonna kind of work this grout into these areas. I'm gonna take my sponge, make sure it's nice and clean, and then just gently, using the corners, wipe that off, and then it's gone. Now you're gonna have, you know, probably a fair amount, depending on how thick your grout was when you did that. So it's up to you on how long and how picky you want to be with it. Your grade is dependent, you know, to a degree on trying to make sure you don't have any of those pinholes, but within reason. You know, I want you to spend some time on it, but it's not like you're going to spend the entire class period trying to fix it. Okay. Next thing is I'm going to take my sponge again, make sure it's nice and clean. Now you're going to go along your edge. You're going to lift it up like this. Start at this corner. Start wiping down. You know, making sure your hand doesn't, you know, touch that side, because sometimes the glass is sticking out a little bit. And I want to go around the outside on the entire thing. Okay. Once that is done, you take this and you put it on your red shelf. And then I'm going to go over the cleanup process. Behind, I'm usually putting it behind this this island where the 3 sinks are at. This will be against this wall. You're going to find this tub, and on the tub is going to have this 5-gallon bucket. So this is going to act as a clay trap where we dump water inside of here. Sometimes I have holes drilled out, sometimes I don't. And the grout, because it's like a sand-like material, will sit on the bottom, and your water will overflow, and it traps all the grout inside the bucket. And when it gets full, which sometimes it does, this will get thrown away. You know, the water, I just, as I let it sit for a day, it's very clear on top. I just dump that down by the sink. But you need to do this, because we don't want to have this grout going down our sinks. So I'm going to take my bucket, and this is what you're going to do, is you're going to dump the entire thing inside of here, okay? Next, there is grout sitting in there. So you have to come to the sink. I just add a small amount of water, and I take my hand and I swish it around, because you're really kind of breaking that up, and kind of like a dirty river, where it's just because of a fast rainstorm, everything gets kicked up. Everything's getting kicked up, and you dump it in here. Do that again. Swishing it does a pretty good job this time. There's not a whole lot left. And make sure you don't have any grout. Like I have some sitting along the side here. And this is pretty good. You know, I don't have anything. I mean, it's always black, so we're gonna get some down there, but those things have another clay trap that catches it. So this is done. Now I'm gonna take this. I'm gonna clean it up and I come back. Okay, now I have this. This is very clean. Might not look like it, but it's very clean. I do use a kind of like a scouring pad, you know, and do my best to kind of scrub this off, you know, all the way around when I work with it. So this is all set, ready for the next person. Your sponge also needs to be clean. And with this one, do the same thing. You leave it in the sink, and I fill it with water, squeeze all the water out, and I do that like 5 to 10 times until I feel like when I squeeze it, you know, cleaner water comes out. You're never gonna get it perfect, but if you don't, these end up being bricks. Because of all the grout that's inside of it, then I got to throw it away. Stick that back in there. This again, there's a whole bunch of them over there on the bottom row is kind of where our grouting station is at. So this is good. So this is all done. Now I have all my newspaper. Because it has grout on there, throw it away. It's no longer really recyclable. If you have some pieces that don't have grout on, you know, throw them in the recycle bin so we can reuse it. And then you gotta wash your table down. So you can grab one of the rags, you know, that are over by the sinks, clean this up first, wipe your area down, you know, just kind of be respectful of everybody else, and just kind of go from there. So other than that, the next demonstration, so I need to let that sit and dry for a day, and then we'll talk about it, and we will go from there. Okay, good luck, and let me know if you have any questions. Thanks. Hey everybody, today we're going to finish the mosaic by cleaning it up. So it's been 24 hours since we put the grout on. It's completely dry, it's ready to go. I have a bucket of water, I have a clean rag. Remember, our rags are either on top of our sink up here, which usually aren't the cleanest. So you might want to kind of go over on this side in the front and grab kind of a newer one for this, you know, unless you notice somebody else kind of used it. So other than that, I'm going to kind of tilt the camera down so you can kind of see how this works. Thanks. Okay, so I have the mosaic here. Again, just a bucket of clean water. I don't need to have gloves on this one at all. And I don't have to be as gentle with it as I was that first time, because it's not like the grout has been sitting on there for a while, kind of penetrating through that polyurethane. You can just go in and just make sure everything is cleaned up. I'm using my finger and I'm digging down inside of there, because sometimes if you have a low piece of glass next to a high piece of glass, you know, the grout will build up a little bit more in that area. So this is the best time, is about 24 hours later. If you wait like 3-4 days to do this, the grout really hardens at that point, and this becomes a much more difficult process. So you do want to take care of this, you know, relatively within that, you know, that first day kind of thing. You know, over the weekend's probably okay, but if you can, you know, you wanna do this the next day. Because right in this area, I don't know if you noticed that, there was quite a bit of buildup right in that area, because the mirror is usually a little bit thinner, you know, than our glass is. Clean that out again. And depending on how good of a job you did with that first grouting, this should not take very long when you do this. I am almost done, and I think I am done. Okay, so that part's all done. I'm gonna reach over and grab some paper towel now. Because now you just have dirty water sitting on top of this, and if you leave it there, it's going to dry, it's going to be dirty again, so you need to dry it off. See, it's getting all that grout off of there, all that dirty water, I should say. Good. Along the sides, you're going to notice that it does have a buildup of grout that can come off pretty easily. So I'm just going to take this, and I could use my sponge as well, but I want to kind of knock that stuff off. So then when I put my frame on it, you won't have to, it'll be nice and flush against those sides of yours. So. Okay, otherwise it's all good. Next, in the next video, I'm going to show you how to frame it, and get a hanger on there, you know, get it on our Sonia, turn your worksheet in with there, and I hope you enjoy your project. Thanks.